moment many have been waiting for. Donald Trump shifting his tone at a rally last night in North Carolina, possibly marking a new phase for this campaign.
Sometimes, in the heat of debate and speaking on a multitude of issues, you don't choose the right words or you say the wrong thing. I have done that, and I do regret it, particularly where it may have caused personal pain. Too much is at stake for us to be consumed with these issues.
This coming as new Pew Research, a national poll, shows that the race is tightening in a four-way race right now. Take a look at the numbers. Hillary Clinton leads Donald Trump by 4 points with 41% support. Donald Trump with 37% support, followed by Gary Johnson with 10% and Jill Stein now with 4%. Governor Huckabee, let's talk about these numbers. Is this pivot what Republicans have been waiting for from Donald Trump? Is this apology, is that enough?
Well, it's a new Donald Trump, and,
yeah?
and actually I think it's the same Donald Trump. But he's been brash and filled with bravado, but what we saw was a very honest side of a man who knows that he's said some things that probably were, let's just be kind, intemperate.
Yeah.
But look, he's
look,
headed toward the
it was a brutal primary season.
You tell me about it. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here. Right. But it was a brutal primary season. I thought that the tone that he took last night, the apology, a lot of people never thought it would happen, but it showed that he is looking forward to the election. I still think he's going to win, because when people get down to it, they're going to look and say, has Hillary Clinton ever told the truth, ever? Can we really trust her? Do you want to put her in the White House? This is just a race that comes down to some simple things that when people focus on that, I believe they elect Donald Trump.
Yeah,
so when you say when they focus on that, so the polls, even though we have a tightening race, it looks like based on the one poll we just saw, you think the polls are it's just too early at this point?
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, I don't think the polls accurately reflect what people say, because people don't want to tell a pollster they're voting for Donald Trump.
I think
for the
you're right
same
about
reason
that.
People come up to me and they'll say, hey, don't tell anybody, but I want to vote for Trump. Because they don't want to be called a bigot, a racist, a homophobe, a xenophobe, whatever it is that the label of the day. The second thing is that a lot of people only hear what the media has told them. Wait till the debates. There will be more people watching that than watch the Olympics cumulatively. Yeah. And that's going to be epic.
We need to see substance, Dagan, at these debates.
At the debates, I can't wait. I'm waiting with bated breath. I think everybody feels that way. And every single pollster on the right, conservatives, and on the left, Democrats, told me, do not start really looking at the polls until about Labor Day, because people are away, they're on vacation, but when they come back after Labor Day, that's when they really start hunkering down and focusing on who is the right candidate for me. What I thought was interesting about this is a scripted speech, but it was, you know, an admission of how he has acted towards some people on the during the campaign. What was interesting is because people assumed by hiring Steve Bannon that he was just going to be full-on Trump. He was going to be, you know, Trump TNT. And this is different. Yeah. So maybe the punching and the gut-busting is done by the surrogates, and then Trump rises above. Maybe this is a shift.
I gave Trump the advice when I was with him last week on the campaign trail. I said, you need a goon squad. You need a goon squad that goes out there and does all the heavy hitting.
Wow.
And I said, you know, in a good political campaign, you go after your opponents, but you don't do it all personally. You let other people do it. I said, pick out some people that are really, really good and love taking the baseball bats to the opponents.
You're already seeing that. Katrina Pearson brings up the issue of Hillary Clinton's health. Yeah. And some people are talking about, oh, well, that's dirty. You're hitting, you know, you're hitting below the belt. But you know what? It's dirty politics, and the Clintons wrote the rule book.
This ain't being bad.
But I thought that was very telling. It's like, if you want to really, really get tough and maybe play a little nasty, let your surrogates do it. And Absolutely. You're already starting to see it.
Does Wall Street focus on this yet, Michael Yoshikami, as we approach the election? Is this going to be something the stock market reacts to?
You know, probably so. I'll tell you, Wall Street maybe hasn't reacted to it yet, but I'll tell you investors are. Yeah. When I give speeches or when I talk with investors, number one question always, what's going to happen in the election? Answer, I don't know.
So if Donald
Number two, yeah, go ahead.
If the markets start figuring out that 15% corporate tax rate is going to materialize, I would assume that would be a real positive.
I don't think you should assume that.
Okay.
I think there's too much baggage associated with, frankly, either candidate. You really can make a very clear distinction. If candidate one wins, the market, which remember is always, as you know, an adolescent child, we don't know how it's going to act, is necessarily going to go up. I mean, the real question is what economic policies actually get implemented after whoever's inaugurated. I think that's when the stock market starts to react. But I don't think there's just an automatic, immediately uptick based on any particular candidate.
You said it would be an adolescent reaction. In all honesty, if people in business vote for Hillary Clinton, they're not adolescents, they're infants. I mean, they're still sucking the bottle. This is crazy. Why would you vote for someone who is going to raise taxes, increase the inheritance tax, make it more difficult to do business? I guess maybe if you're in the investment community, maybe it's not as painful, but if you're a small business operator, she'll gut punch you.
Well, I am a small business operator, and my perspective is no matter who's elected, there's going to be enough of a divided legislative body that all the things that are being proposed, we're not living in a dictatorship. So in the end, I don't think if you vote for one candidate necessarily, it means all of their policies are going to be put in place. It's simply just proposals at this point. I mean, do we really think that if Hillary Clinton is elected, we're going to have massive tax increases automatically? No, we're not. We're going to have we're going to have folks like you are going to be screaming all day long as the counterbalance for higher taxes.
Then again, I mean, you know, in President Obama's second term, you know, even though you had a divided government, he was able to institute a lot of regulations, and he went around Congress in a number of ways.
That's true.
Jagan said it yesterday. All the regulations that he's coming out with is like record numbers.
It's more than 600 economically significant major regulations that he's handed down during his presidency, and that is a record.
Yeah.
And we're talking about an economic impact of well north of $750 billion, probably closer to $1 trillion.
And we know she says she wants to build on President Obama's policy. She wants to build on Obamacare. She wants to build on Dodd-Frank.